and outdoor lighting solutions. Check out our webpage, www.caribbeanledlighting.com.
Good morning, Vaval Central is on now. Vaval Central on the Caribbean Sound is sponsored by the Carnival Planning Management Committee, the Carnival Music Management Committee, Creamery Novelties, Live a Little, Harris Paints, the Champions of Color, the Computer Store, and Quartz, bringing value home. We're back! Vaval Central! The music, the happenings, interviews, and all aspects of Carnival. Vaval Central! Yeah! Vaval Central! 8 to 9:30 a.m. Monday to Friday with Teddy Francis and Team RCI. Vaval Central beginning mid-19 on the Caribbean Sound. Sponsored by the Carnival Planning and Management Committee, the Carnival Music Management Committee, Harris Paints, the Computer Store, Quartz, bringing value home, and Creamery Novelties. Vaval Central! Yeah!
Get ready, St. Lucia. Lucian Carnival 2025 is on, and this year it's bigger, brighter, and bolder than ever. From Calypso to Soca, Junior Carnival to Juve, and Panorama to Pageantry, every event is bursting with non-stop energy, ecstasy, and vibes. Come catch the rhythm on Carnival Monday and Tuesday with views that only Lucian Carnival can deliver. It's the ultimate summer escape. Feel the vibes, embody the spirit. Lucian Carnival, nothing is sweeter than that.
Are you a small business owner looking for dependable IT support? Then look no further. TCS has the solutions to all your IT needs. Our experienced and qualified team of IT professionals has all your IT solutions. We provide wired and wireless networking, point-of-sale solutions, network security, data backup and recovery solutions, desktops and laptops, computer hardware and software, computer accessories, inks, toners, and much more. Don't let IT solutions cripple your operations or your ability to serve your clients. Call us today at 450-4638 or visit us on the ground floor of the American Drywall Building at Vidbutai. The Computer Store, meeting your demands in the IT world.
Experience Carnival with Quartz Ready Cash. Enter to win $10,000 cash when you take a loan for $3,000 or more. Get the cash to purchase event tickets and costumes. All you need to apply is your ID, payslip, recent job letter, proof of address, and 2 references. No security required. Flexible payment terms, quick approval, and hassle-free. Visit us in-store or apply online at www.quartz.com. Quartz Ready Cash. Ready when you are. Promotion ends June 30th, 2025. Normal criteria and special conditions apply.
Fire One Calypso Tent in collaboration with the Carnival Planning and Management Committee and the Carnival Music Management Committee present opening night on Saturday, May 24th at the National Cultural Center. Kickoff time 8:30 p.m. But come early for a pre-show warm-up starting at 7 p.m. Admission $25. Featuring an electrifying lineup. Akio, Alikan, Educator, Retty, Robbie, Trish, Shen, Unpredictable, Prosper, Matcha, Snow, and defending monarch, Dazroll. Guest performances by Slack and Frost with MC Dornaville. Fire One Calypso Tent. Opening night, Saturday, May 24th, 8:30 p.m. at the NCC. The pre-show warm-up is at 7 p.m. Music by the band Take That. This event is licensed by Echo.
Oh, I've got this feeling to high-five the sun, dance in the rain, and have my scoop of fun. I'm on my way to flavor my day with something new, and I've got room for you. Let loose and live a little, get close and share a little, give in and taste a little. You'll fall in love with Creamery Novelties. Love life and live a little, get close and share a little, give in and taste a little. You'll fall in love with Creamery Novelties.
Enjoy Creamy Novelties ice cream, distributed by Ferrens Foods. Live a little.
South Calypso Tent, in collaboration with the Carnival Music Management Committee and the CPMC, present the Advocates of the Art Form. Long live Kaiso! The grand launching Friday, May 23rd at the National Cultural Center. Showtime 8:30 p.m. Featuring 4-time Calypso monarch Minal, Daika Fontalio, Oshun, King Kakal, Queen Yards, Teddy Boy, Mighty K, Mahandra, Damian, Diplomat, Boss Al, Newcomers, Lucian, Arta and more. Surprise guest artists with MC Doraville, the backup band, South All Stars. Admission $25 you pay at the door. This event is sponsored by Lucilect, Southern Taxi Association, Bounty Rum, Beer Marcel, Peter Beer, Climax and IC, Caribbean Grains Flour Mill, Peter and Company Auto, Jason and Alton Mondesi, Forest Springs, Michelle's Electrical, South Calypso Tent, Grand Launch, Friday, May 23rd, 8:30 p.m. at the NCC. This event is licensed by ECHO. No unauthorized vendors allowed.
Who's a little man with a lot to offer? He is the Harris-Benz man who does the best for less in so many colors. He is the Harris-Benz man for a better pay and a better price. Check the little man for some soft advice. If you're raining inside, outside, you'll be satisfied when you use Harris-Benz. If you're raining inside, outside, you'll be satisfied when you use Harris-Benz.
Friday, July 18th, Darren Sammy Cricket Ground.
All you put your hands in the air if you love sweet soca music.
Color Me Red.
Somebody say sweet soca music. Oh my gosh. This is the thing to change the world. Watch and sing the words with me. Go. When I'm feeling under the weather, you just make me feel sweet. I take cocoa tea using sugar, and together we are complete. Darling, pick me up. Only you alone can put fire back in the soul.
Early bird tickets are $135. General admission $150. VIP $500.
Color Me Red. Darren Sammy Cricket Ground.
I could never let you miss how she made. Miss how she made. Girl, I'm coming home, I will see you again. Hold me through these nights I'm dreaming.
Color Me Red.
Put up the fire. Bubbling it over. Crazy.
Friday, July 18th, Darren Sammy Cricket Ground.
Color Me Red. It's your cocoa tea,
Color Me Red tickets are available now at Steve's Barbershop, Radio Caribbean International, The Cell, TM Antoine Partners, Red Team members, and FourCirclesTickets.com. Color Me Red, the greatest love.
The wait is over. We are about to turn it on. Soca, the ultimate tent, in collaboration with the CMMC present Big Bad Soca on Saturday, May 21st at the Pavilion in Rodney Bay. Performing live. Bounce, Marta, Slide, Anthony Fun Machine, Sadale, Keisha and more. Starting time 8 p.m. Admission $25 at the door. The first 100 people pay $20. Soca, the ultimate tent presents Big Bad Soca.
When you get the car,
Saturday, May 31st, 8 p.m. at the Pavilion on Rodney Bay. This event is sponsored by Lucilect, Campari, Doers, PJ, Peter Bear, Island Sound, Pleasant FM, NBC, Hot FM, The Wave, and Radio Caribbean International. The event is licensed by ECHO. Echo.
Good morning, Vaval Central.
And we're back, Vaval Central on the Caribbean Sound. Steady?
Good morning, Iowa. Good morning to Vaval Central listeners and followers. The Facebook, as we told you, the official page of Radio Caribbean, Facebook and Instagram, and also, of course, on the old traditional dial 101.1. And of course, as we said at the month's end, we're turning it up, going out into the breakfast fete outside in the big yard when we'll be joined by UTV, and so blowing it up fully. We joined this morning by we have a real pedigree this year on Vaval Central, Iowa. We have the great Manchas Casabok, Big Tunes, we call him, Big Tunes, Mr. Big Tunes. Good morning, let me say proper good morning to him, you know.
Yeah, man, yeah. Yeah, we there, you know. We got RCI and we're good. It's Vaval Central.
Manchester in his capacity as artist, but also analyst. Last year, he had some interesting comments on as we welcome our other guests about the calypso, the evolution of the soca. So he's here as a musician, a thorough musician in its own right. Also a performer, a double OECS soca monarch. He's released tunes again this year. Mr. Melody, we call him, Iowa? Full of melody like crazy. And so he's here in several capacities. as is our other guest. What you will see, how you introduce our other guest? Well, legend, pedigree, what you say? The one and only Gilroy is high hall, boy. We call it is high. It's too high.
Oh, high.
High in quality, not. Gilroy Hall, boy. You know he's a national footballer too, an athlete. You know where that?
What you mean?
Yeah, good morning, Vaval Central. Good morning to everyone here in St. Lucia and throughout the diaspora. Teddy, always a pleasure to be here and looking forward to our discussions this morning. Just want to let everybody know, very early o'clock, I already have my theme song for Carnival 2025, which I will be sharing with you before I leave this program this morning. But big up Vaval Central, I think one of the most informative educational programs. I listened to your show day before yesterday with Penn, and I'm telling you, it was really, really a fantastic show, like all the other shows, and really looking forward to our discussion this morning. St. Lucia Carnival, best in the world.
Yeah, I see you have that's a handbook, and I see you have a notebook there. I know you have the famous handbook. That's it. Oh, that's one of them.
That's one of the volumes.
Volume 4.
Yeah.
Izai, always a pleasure. We have given lots of knowledge, analysis. Izai, as we tell people often, not only a gifted MC. As an MC, that's another story. Iowa, we can't touch him at all. Art performer himself, creator, writer, but also a good mind when it comes to analyzing the growth and evolution of our festival and arts and culture in St. Lucia generally. Welcome, Isa. It's all a pleasure. And it's a pity we can't have Isa or have him, so we have the time when we get him. Isa involved in a lot of other things, so you have to get him when we can. We're going to go to the music in just a bit, but lots to look out to. Interesting to discuss. We've seen a note coming here, we'll touch on that later. Roston Taylor, Vail, Tribe of 12, Thaddeus, Fusion, we'll get massively getting to you. The note here coming to us will be confirming with the National Cultural Foundation, but a popular website covering Crop Over Hub, covering Barbados Crop Over, says that this year, the parade of bands in Barbados for the Grand Kadooman, as they call it, the Bajan Special, Grand Kadooman Parade, that's the name for the parade of bands, right? Will no longer, the party bands for this year, the party bands in Barbados Parade of Bands Grand Kadooman, the party bands will no longer be judged following a joint agreement and statement from the National Cultural Foundation and the Association of Bands, they call them over there, the Barbados Association of Masqueraders, to improve the flow of the parade and the revel experience. Instead of competing for prizes, the party bands will receive equal subvention support, while heritage bands, interesting classification, heritage bands will remain eligible for traditional awards and prizes. Very interesting, Manchester. Izai, we'll talk on that in just a bit. Lots to chew on there, lots of different angles, Barbados going that way. We'll get to that in just a bit, but lots of other areas. When it comes there, I shouted Roston and so initially listed as party bands, but just for fun won the band of the year 2 years ago. So it's interesting in our context when you label a party band. That would go straight to the definition of what is a party band. That's it. What is a party or declared party band? Initially, a band like Just for Fun, as the name indicates and suggests and hints, that they were absolutely just a party band, having fun and not caring about criteria and judging. But as it grew, and so the strength and the power and the numbers, they thought, why not give it a shot? And in fact, they have never been disqualified from competing. That a differentiation has never quite been made. But your initial thoughts, just as follows of Carnival.
Well, Teddy, like you said, I mean, defining what a party band is the starting point. For me, every band in a carnival parade is a party band. That's the whole purpose of being on the road, Perhaps one can understand why the Bajans have decided to go that route. Perhaps in terms of managing the parade and in terms of the time issue. It's becoming very problematic to be judging so many bands with so many revelers within a specified time, and it may be for security reasons. They had to find a way, I guess, essentially to perhaps speed up the parade, and so they came up with that. But I don't think it's really fair to any one band to say, hey, you are a party band and you're not being judged. You have a portrayal, you have a theme. Once you meet the criteria that has been set out for judging, I don't see any reason why you shouldn't be judged, but I do understand perhaps why they decide they have decided to go that route in terms of managing time.
Before you even go to Manchester, just his take generally as an observer of Carnival, you've jumped a few times. I've seen costume a few times. Just for fun? Just for fun? Which one?
I've jumped with Zuvo one time. Was it Zuvo
Not
one
easy,
time? Red.
You're a modern jumper, contemporary
Red one
jumper.
time, I did my thing and it was really good, It's the thing is, I hadn't jumped. I'd only been on the trucks, singing, just singing on the trucks. But to actually jump Carnival, actually the first time I jumped was with really jump. Was that song? You remember that song? Soca Psycho Gallop. That's when I put Gallop. I really galloped that jam.
So we raised the issue, as you said, for those just joining, that Barbados not coming through Crop Over Hub. We'll in fact confirm it with the Cultural Foundation, but just they thought on a popular site that the party bands in Barbados will not. I would imagine that's bands like Contact and Power by 4 over in Barbados will not be judged for the parade. Interesting. As we see very loudly, very clearly, repeatedly on Vaval Central, we are not advocating at all following what other islands do. They have their own context, they have their own conditions, they have their own reasons and justifications. A living example, Barbados and Trinidad and Tobago, I thought not very wisely, but that's their business, scrapping the Soca Monarch. Remember a few years ago, I thought the Soca Monarch is the essence, the lifeblood of a carnival. It gives justification for national and government investment. I mean, the artery that it provides for artists, creators, producers, and the life and energy it gives to the oxygen it gives to the carnival is so important. So I was really amazed and disappointed when Barbados and Trinidad and Tobago, but that's their business. Trinidad has since seen the wisdom and reverted and revived their Soca Monarch. I just thought it not a good image of you knowing what you're about. You scrap Soca Monarch, and then Barbados, I thought, already Barbados sometimes accused of having a very artificial festival, and so one that gives it like a contest like a Soca Monarch, they call it the Party Monarch, a scrapping that I thought wasn't wise, but that's their decision, their festival. Barbados has that kind. I thought I don't find the natural kind of organic and people-centered creative. Barbados is well organized. I've always found it a tad artificial. The natural energy is not quite there. But everybody has. I go to Crobova repeatedly. I still go, but it's a different kind of energy and spontaneity, and so it's not the strength of Barbados Carnival. But that is their business. Just food for thought for joining us. That the decision being quoted on one of the popular online outlets is that the party bands will not be judged. St. Lucia is sticking to the same, as you said, a band that started as a party band in St. Lucia just for fun, ended up winning the band of the year, beating the likes of Tribe of 12 the year before.
Exactly.
Confirming the reason why we're just not following the route of other people. As Isa indicated, there's a criteria. If either you follow the criteria or you don't. You had a thought on that, Manchester, before we move on?
With the Soca Monarch or the
Soca, you wanted to
with the Soca Monarch. Yeah, I think you need the Soca Monarch. For instance, in St. Lucia, if you do not take part in Soca Monarch, later on in the year, people ask you, "Oh, you didn't sing this year?" Yeah. If you don't do that, so why you didn't sing this year?
I have said that repeatedly, but almost like cliche, almost our mantra thing, that reminding people it's difficult, it's an uphill battle. To put it in, even the greatest of our artists, Teddy St. John, has seen the reality of it. Nicole David suffered from it. Good morning again, Nicole. We always big you up and give you strength, support, and love. Nicole David, and also people like Arthur have seen it, hence his return to the competition. That's your choice, but it's really an uphill battle when you are not in competition to remain relevant and at the center and central to the festival.
It's your choice, but Soca Monarch is part of the brand that Soca is, and even Carnival. So taking it out, you kind of killed it because people love the competition. So you kind of taking something away from the public.
Yeah,
I think you need it.
It gives the media largely in the coverage of Carnival the bearings,
Absolutely.
It's the reference, and so I've seen it happen that once the lists are announced, in particular, the lists are announced for qualifiers for quarterfinals, semi-finals, finals, they become centered on that, and so that becomes the playlist, the rotation, and the people too who are going to Soca Monarch, they want to hear these tunes because they have supporting their favorite artists and they want it in rotation. The pressure on the radio station program directors, announcers to keep rotating those tunes. So
absolutely, and even on, let's say, YouTube, you see the views go up As soon as the list comes out and people are competing, you see the views go. People,
observation, yeah.
More interest.
Yeah, a lot more interest.
People get more interest.
It's your choice when you decide. And you see, a country like Trinidad and Tobago was just such a menu of parties, about 150 parties and fits. You could afford to almost a separate avenue for expression and performance and a platform for your material. Not quite yet. We have improved a lot. We've expanded on the party aspect of our carnival, but not quite there to have a separate, equally effective platform.
Yeah, and I want to add one more thing. Soca Monarch people may say it's dying in Trinidad, but in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Grenada.
Antigua to a lesser extent.
That is what big, it's about, you know.
And that gives the potency to the carnival, the power on the ground of the people, and the People's Festival. And so, especially for us, where we've been accused, the country has been accused of tilting the carnival, having it lopsided towards, as we said, upmarket, upscale, Rodney Bay, Pigeon Island, Boussijou. It's important that the downtown
very
monster
important.
That Soca Monarch is very important in keeping the balance in the
carnival.
Yeah,
you need the wildness and you know.
And also the very location, the way it is, the bearings that in fact is of the people and with the grassroots energy. Iowa, we are reminding everyone that the big weekend is here, the first big weekend. We are looking forward to the South Calypso tent as they come, we see literally and otherwise in convoy with their vehicles coming this evening and descending among them at the Mecca, the cultural center. They will be starting. Tony Wilkinson himself vouched that they have a powerful cast. Great interest. People like Minel very much in there, Daika Fontelio, Oshun, a number of the outstanding artists, but added interest with the participation, perhaps unprecedented, of the reigning carnival queen, in this instance, Shan Lucien, who will be competing this year and in fact appearing with 2 songs in the first outing at the South Calypso tent. That surely has added interest, curiosity to go forward to it. And they are followed by the Fire One and the new management of Gregory Piper, Sean Marsler and Dyson Im, but they will be on stage the following night. So a nice bumper weekend to start the season. And of course we heard of the 15 Calypsonians taking the stage, including the great anxiety to hear and anticipation to hear what is coming from the reigning monarch, Desrel, as busy as he might be in his soca tunes, his Denry segment tune, having great popularity. As we said, his writer has declared that for the first time perhaps in his career, he has at this very early stage both competition songs ready to go ahead. Always peculiar for the defending, the reigning monarch, that because he doesn't go through the stages of competition, much like you said, there's a relevance he has to get, because remember, he's not competing, he's not at quarters, he's not at semis, so he has to find ways to keep himself relevant, no doubt with good material. And in fact, sometimes there is the option of the monarch doing a guest performance at semis and of course his 10th quarterfinals, to use that effectively to build up towards the climax of the Calypso competition. We play in a clip. You have that clip, Ima?
Yes, let's try to get it done.
Before now this is Arrow. I thought quite generic, generally held a point of view about Calypso and its relevance in our present context, whether Calypso can be as powerful, as relevant as in the old days. We'll just hear his thoughts, a little dated, that's before his passing, of course, Arrow, and then we'll get our own thoughts from 2 gentlemen well placed, the Gilroy Hall and Manchester, our 2 guests this morning.
My plan to totally internationalize soca music, that this was the way to go. Because what you found with the traditional Calypso 15 years ago was that they dealt with a lot of localized topics. And you found when you were dealing with foreign audiences, they couldn't understand, they couldn't relate to it. Hence, I simplified Calypso, changed it into the soca, and everybody could sing. Lewy room, boom, 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 ole, ole, things like that. You make it simpler and you achieve a lot more international consumer appeal.
How would you define the role of Calypso in society? As you said, it had that extra meaning there.
Right. I would say 15, 20 years ago, the Calypsonian was like the mouthpiece of the people. In the Caribbean, before there was, as people was more outspoken. No. At that time, in the absence of strong opposition parties in government, people tended to look to the Calypsonian. They thought he had poetic license and could talk about the ills of society, could criticize the government, whereas everybody else was scared to do this. But I think now with the advance of media, electronic and print, and with a whole new society, that is no longer the role of the Calypsonian. You know, I mean, now and then you can still do that, but that tended to restrict your earnings, and you were losing that important international market. People looking at calypso as an ethnic Caribbean music. Now people look at it as a dance form.
Good morning, Vaval Central.
Thank you, Iowa, for timing that clip very well for us. That's your partner, Arrow, and his views straight away. Him speaking of the relevance of the calypso in the present context, why it could diminish. Your take initially, Isai, and then Manchester.
Well, I mean, obviously...
Whether you agree, disagree, and your own take.
I totally disagree with Arrow, but I guess Arrow was, at that point in time, had decided that he wanted to market a particular kind of music. He wanted to establish his brand as a soca artist, and he felt that was the way to go. But, I mean, it's so very easy to contradict that. King Liar, you know that song, King Liar? Mm-hmm. It's still one of the most popular songs around the world. Sung by millions. I mean, once you hear this particular song, everybody gets into it. You know how long ago King Liar was done? Lord Nelson is 91 years old. 92. And I have videos of Lord Nelson singing to audiences who go absolutely crazy hearing that song. But even more recently, Desrel's 2 songs, and I keep telling people that perhaps they did not pay sufficient attention to Desrel's songs. Did you see Julian Alfred singing Desrel's song after she won that Olympic gold medal, which means she was familiar with the song, the big gun. That must have had an impact on her. The power of that song, the prediction that, hey, Juju was going to win this, that may have given her confidence. And, we didn't really truly appreciate that song in the 10s, but that song was a powerhouse. Also, too, the re-emergence of George Fish Alphonse at the recently concluded Voices of the Underground. Fish was on fire. I mean, that particular performance would be appreciated anywhere in the world. Fish was at his best. And that particular song from Desrel, again, Looking for Fish, remember that calypso? I'm sure that was part of what stirred Fish to get back on stage, So we've had so many great calypsos. And the role of calypso is no different today in comparison to when it originated. What's the origination of calypso? Calypso was a manner in which the slaves during slavery time, it did 2 things for them. It was the voice of the oppressed, speaking to issues that they couldn't really discuss with massa, etc. But also too, it was a culture that they developed that they got to like and appreciate. Calypso is different to any other form of music. Right. Also, in its true form.
Hence, the essence of calypso being centered around double entendre and hidden meaning, because they couldn't quite directly and overtly mock the masters and criticize them and make fun of them. So it had to be hidden meaning. That's why the pundits always say that the essence of calypso is not to sing it straight and obvious. The real essence of the art form, the quintessential calypso, always masks the message in a hidden meaning. That to the purists and the pundits, that's what they advocate.
But with the evolution of entertainment, there are some people who, when you use that format, they really and truly don't get it. So it is left to our judging criteria. If this is what the focus should be, then our judging criteria must reflect that. But there are also calypsos that are straightforward, to the point, but they evoke emotions in people. And they bring sadness, they bring joy, calypso brings you a whole potpourri of emotions, and this is what music is all about. It's about entertaining people as well,
Interesting point that this different strain, wave, school of calypso, as initially really expounded at the likes of Sugar Arrows and Coco, very direct, obviously, so and purposeful.
Moggy.
To a certain point. He did have some meaning, but powerful and direct in a sense, a different strain of calypso. Also, as a thing, 2 things. The role of calypso has remained essential. The question and the challenge that Arrow was alluding to is the place of calypso. This role, yes, think about the place. As in, what we found just before we go to break, we'll continue it after. But I've found that calypso had several roles and the functions in the context of the community and society. For example, the party calypso has largely been usurped by soca power and especially groovy. You know, a lot of the situation, the man-woman topic has now been eclipsed a lot by groovy soca, taking that. You hear it less and less in calypso. Calypso had its own party songs. They kind of almost surrendered that to the soca, so these things. And then the obvious point is alluding to that the role, the essential role of calypso as the medium for expressing protest and unrest and dissatisfaction has been replaced by online now, the social media, the plethora of talk shows, and so the pressure on calypso now to maintain that relevance. So you need to adjust sometimes and add to the rule, like Isai was hinting, to ensure that you remain relevant in the society and marketable. But we'll come back to that after the break. Iowa is waiting for his sponsors. Break the sponsors important, Iowa. I'll be coming back with Gilroy Hall, Isai Hall. He hasn't done extempo yet, but you know when you wait, it's problems when you come later. Isai Hall and Manchester Castle and a lot more. We're minding persons tonight. The Cultural Centre with South. We're going tomorrow with Fire One. Denry Carnival on Sunday, Isai. Ezra, Arthur, DYP and the Carnival bands from Denry and a lot more. The school tour on today. Patricia James Secondary and Corinth. Yesterday, you saw the images on social media. Crazy with the kids over at Groseley and at Moshi. And we're hearing the Mindo Phillip Park would likely be the venue for the schools competition because of work going on the Sabbath. We'll be ready for the big national events, but may not be in a couple of weeks for the juniors. So we may use Mindo Phillip Park. Advantages there of the covered stands and so on, but a lot more on that as we continue on Vaval Central. The break and then more discussion with Isai and Manchester.
Thank you very much, Teddy. Vaval Central and the Caribbean Sound is sponsored by the Carnival Planning Management Committee, the Carnival Music Management Committee, Creamery Novelties, Live a Little, Harris Paints, the Champions of Color, the Computer Store, Strong Players, Quartz, bringing value home.
Get ready, St. Lucia. Lucian Carnival 2025 is on, and this year it's bigger, brighter, and bolder than ever. From Calypso to Soca, Junior Carnival to Juve, and Panorama to Pageantry, every event is bursting with non-stop energy, ecstasy, and vibes. Come catch the rhythm on Carnival Monday and Tuesday with views that only Lucian Carnival can deliver. It's the ultimate summer escape. Feel the vibes, embody the spirit. Lucian Carnival, nothing sweeter than that.
South Calypso Tent, in collaboration with the Carnival Music Management Committee and the CPMC, present the Advocates of the Art Form. Long live Kaiso! The grand launching Friday, May 23rd at the National Cultural Center. Showtime, 8:30 p.m. Featuring four-time Calypso monarch, Minal, Daiko Fontalio, Oshun, King Kakal, Queen Yards, Teddy Boy, Mighty K, Mahandra, Damian, Diplomat, Boss Al, Newcomers, Lucian, Arta and more. Surprise guest artists with MC Dorneville, the backup band, South All-Stars. Admission $25 you pay at the door. This event is sponsored by Lucilec, Southern Taxi Association, Bounty Rum, Beer Marcel, Peter Beer, Climax and IC, Caribbean Grains Flour Mill, Peter and Company Auto, Jason and Alton Mondesi, Forest Springs, Michelle's Electrical, South Calypso Tent, Grand Launch, Friday, May 23rd, 8:30 p.m. at the NCC. This event is licensed by ECHO. No unauthorized vendors allowed.
Over the years, you've trusted us to protect your most valuable possessions, your health, your home, your business, and your vehicles. So why not let us also help you safeguard you and your family's future with our Nagico Life Insurance Solutions. Our people-centric, purpose-driven team are ready to serve you. Contact Nagico today and let's talk protection, education, retirement, and legacy. Remember, at Nagico, we do life insurance too. Nagico Insurances, fast, fair, and always there.
Do you feel your eyesight is degenerating as you grow older? Regular eye examinations should be part of your regular healthcare checklist. Comprehensive eye examinations are free in all Vision Express stores. The free eye examination includes blood glucose and blood pressure checks and full examination for early signs of glaucoma, diabetic retinopathy, and cataracts. Early diagnosis can save your vision. To book a free eye examination in any Vision Express stores in Castries, Orange Grove Plaza, Viewfort, Gablewoods, and Soufriere, call or WhatsApp message 285-2843 or check out the 24-hour chat line on www.visionexpressstlucia.com. Vision Express. Healthy vision. Healthy you.
Dream big. Make it your own. Home Sweet gets you any style of home.
BOSL's Home Suite is the sweetest mortgage deal in St. Lucia. No payments for 3 months. A low interest rate of 4.75% for up to 30 years. Plus a further 0.25% discount with a solar PV loan. All with zero commitment fees. Grab your BOSL Home Suite mortgage today.
OSL.
And we're back. Vaval Central on the Caribbean Sound. Teddy?
And it's Friday. We're on Vaval Central, but also Friday is a big lime indie normally. It's crying out. The vacuum, the void is obvious for the good old after-work lime on a Friday as the build-up to Carnival. We've been saying that at the grassroots level, at the level of the people, more activities needed. We have lost over the last few years a line jam. No efforts. The CPMC now working on a revival of the line jam, which was done mostly by private enterprise in the past, in fairness, and so the Carnival too must not all be on an axis of the government body, the government agency. Private initiative and private sector involvement is very important. So the likes of Ozzy Augustine and Dylan Pitkin had started the Line Jam New Dimensions Carnival Band. That has disappeared. RCI had the Piton Party in the yard. That has the good news is that the CSA under Max Stephen Orbiton looking to revive it. That'll be a welcome addition. And so this is the downtown line. The uptown one would be Maurice, as all said, they've been promoting for months now that they're starting next week Friday, the popular after. That will be a very popular event. Maurice over at Corinth. That'll be a very popular uptown line with all the artists and so, and you know, the nerve center of Lime, and you know, downtown and Lime, the great Isai Hall has really been handling all off season, on season, and so in this carnival season, I'm sure Dax would not be out of the action.
As I'm telling you, you are spot on. As a matter of fact, this afternoon after work, we have. Let me tell you, we started the warm up to Carnival just before Jazz, Teddy. We've been in there. We have a young DJ, the DJ Solo, and I mean this guy can really, when it comes to playing soca, etc., he's a boss, and he's there after work Lime on a Friday. But guess what? Tomorrow and every Saturday from 11 a.m. we're gonna be featuring the best of St. Lucia, old school songs from way back, Making Bread on the Dead, Caro, Where Do We Go From Here? And what we've been doing is searching for videos of live performances, you know, and showing those videos. But this Saturday, 4-1 band. You know, everybody loves the beach. You know what I'm saying there? Yeah, everybody loves the beach. 4-1 band will be jamming at Dax downtown Castries tomorrow from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. And of course, my good friend Manchester will be there with us. Of course, you can expect people like Alpha to be in the house. I've been trying to confirm that to get her black on, because these are people who perform at the Dax establishments regularly, not just in Castries, but in Rodney Bay. Friday night in Grosley Day, they'll be appearing there. So, Teddy, we have our whole program for people for the carnival season. You're looking for a Lime on an afternoon, you just come down by Dax. But this Saturday, tomorrow morning, we launching our carnival promotion tomorrow morning. My favorite song for the carnival season, which I'll be telling you, Play More Local. Pen, thank you so very much. What you have created, it is not just a song, but a movement. And Teddy, I'll be sharing a lot more. I can see we getting merchandising going, t-shirts, bumper stickers. And as a DJ explained, Teddy, I listened to one of the most responsible DJs ever. I don't know his name. I'm not going to mention the station because, I mean, RCI is my favorite station. I will not mention another station here. But he was so very responsible in saying, after he played the song, please note that the song is saying play more local, do not play other people's music. And he emphasized it, and I thought that was very, very responsible of him. But Pen, I spoke to Pen already day before yesterday when he released his song. You see that song? This is a whole movement that we need to get started here. We need to get Echo on board. We need to get agencies on board. We need to get sponsors on board. I can see I Want Teddy with the Play More Local shirts next week right here on RCI, as I told Pen.
A polo shirt or a t-shirt?
Yeah, well, Gasol, let me tell you, we will design that in so many different ways. We'll have a special design for the ladies and stuff, but that Play More Local, trust me, Pen, big up.
No, well said by Isai Hall. The emphasis that any of our festival, our biggest festival, that the quotient of local music is in fact very high. And so we also mentioned we're about to listen to Manchester this year. What the song you like, Iowa?
They're wrong for
They're
that.
Wrong for that.
I'd like to.
a kind of sequel to his big hit before, Fire Burn Them. Remember?
Yeah, Fire Burn Them.
Is the same kind of message,
the
but
same theme.
Right, kind of modernized.
Modernized, but the hook is totally different. And
melody like sun.
The language of today.
The language of today. They're wrong for that.
Right. It is modernized. And so we'll also talk on the Groovy Soca Monarch as we remind persons of what's happening. The Peter Soca Stars, you have to bring them up too. People like Louise and also Lila over at the brewery. Rowan Lovens and company pushing that revival of the Peter Soca Stars, that breeding ground for so much talent over the years. Really want to applaud them for, and they're starting mostly in the south, places like Rose Madine and other bars, Blamity's Bar, really using that energy and then coming to the semis are a big show on Jeremy Street. That's something to behold, a massive show on the blocking of Jeremy Street where all the Peter bars are in fact branded, and then they move to the level grounds on the Dennery Highway there for the finals. A lot to look forward to in that. But we're going to lots of groovy music. We're starting with Manchester. We'll hear from him and then roll into Carlton Roberts and some new releases from different artists, C-Dale and people like Saya, and a number of offerings. I will look like about 100 songs released already, a lot of music. And so we're going through all of them. We had people like T Blacks a little earlier on in our program, Sly, and we want to run through all the music even before the judging ends. Remember, submissions, the deadline is next Wednesday, and then we take it from there. But let's hear Manchester and his word to the carnival naysayers.
They're wrong for that.
Naysayers.
Manchester on Vaval Central.
There we go. They're wrong, they're wrong. They're wrong, they're wrong. They're wrong, they're wrong. All of them, they're wrong. They're wrong, they're wrong. They're wrong, they're wrong. They're wrong, they're wrong.
Morning Vaval Central.
Every year they judging revelers wrong. They're wrong for that. That is why I wrote this little song. They're wrong for that. To put all them haters in their place. They're wrong for that. All those who always on revelers case. They're wrong for that. They need to stop that. They must stop that. Why they so evil? They must stop that. They need to stop that. They must stop that. Attacking people. They must stop.
Sing the chant. They're wrong for that.
They're wrong for that. They're wrong for that. They're wrong for that. Every carnival they judging we. They're wrong for that. That is why I wrote this melody. They're wrong for that. To tell them to stop talking magie. They're wrong for that. When rebels are spending their money. They're wrong for that. They need to stop that. They must stop that. Why they so evil? They must stop that. They need to stop that. They must stop that. Attacking people. They must stop that. They're wrong for 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 that. Morning, noon, and night, the same refrain. They're wrong for that. They bad talking revelers again. They're wrong for that. Hypocrites and bad-minded people. They're wrong for that. Saying how carnival is evil. They're wrong
What
for
we tell
that.
them?
They need to stop that. They must stop that. Why they so evil? They must stop that. They need to stop that. They must stop that. Attacking people. They must stop that. They're wrong for 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 that. Sing. They're wrong for that.
Sing along.
They're wrong, they're wrong. They're wrong, they're wrong. They're wrong, they're wrong.
They're wrong
for that, Teddy.
Yes, Manchester Casablanca, even before I remember at the CDF and introducing in 2007 when we introduced the first ever groovy soca monarch. But he was groovy long before that, eh?
Yeah.
Fire burn them, whoa.
Make around, yeah.
And Fire burn them, and promoted by Dr. Beat, boy. Dr. Beat was big.
Oh yes, boy. Dr. Beat was one of the first people.
So he was long before that. Interesting kind of juncture in our evolution where the groovy soca monarch, when again, mid-carnival decided to introduce groovy soca. It was 1 year. It wasn't properly budgeted for. It wasn't. But in the middle of that season, 2007, a big jump here. I keep saying two of the best carnivals we've had. It happened to be the one leading. 2007 was a huge transformation. Of course, out there we got $1 million for Carnival for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And then before that, Jam Time 99. Two carnivals were huge and a quantum leap in each case. So part of the big seismic change impact of that carnival was the introduction of groovy. And it happened. I just felt then that the groovy was just overwhelming with Black Eye and Marianne.
And Teddy, you were the one instrumental in making that happen.
Introduced it in mid-season. It wasn't on the calendar, but just say we having the groovy. And at that time, the point being made though that we started our groovy soca. Sometimes we have to tweak our formula and make it unique. As an intimate venue. Remember Gaty, Iowa? We started there. Yeah. Small, and the power, and so the singing was emphasized more, the crooners, the quality of voice. It was true groovy, the ride and the groove. Once it was moved in following Trinidad and Tobago, so a couple of years after we had moved on to outdoors. Initially Salmons Park was kind of midway, but to the park. That's when we moved to, as you see, the hard groove. And so the big venues do that, the big sound, the big fest, as Marshall and the Trinis have done. You kind of have to up the tempo when you're doing the live performance.
Power groovy.
Yes, it becomes that. And the experts, we are not the musical, I've told you so, that once you're in the big expanse or the big
Absolutely.
venues, you go ahead
and
explain that, man.
I could tell you as a performer, when you're performing at the cultural center,
right,
and when you're performing at the SAB, it's a totally different thing. For example, we on Saturday, Fire One, and the way I will approach this will be different to the big yard.
So the same
so
song,
many people.
You would have it smooth and cooling in that cultural center. The people 2 feet away from you. But once you get to that sub, if that song makes it, for example, you couldn't go as smooth and sweet.
No, you have to hype it up. You have to, because you have to hype it up because of a larger audience. And for example, inside of the cultural center, it's indoors. Your approach will be different. For example, there have been times when they've had the Soca Monarch, the semi-final, indoors at the cultural center.
Right. Good point.
Your approach as an artist has to be different. The room is different. The way everybody's feeling is different. The acoustics are different. The large audience outside.
And simply the effort to connect.
They're further away from you. Right. They're further away from you. You have to use bigger props. Mm-hmm. In the cultural center, the visual impact, the small props, everybody could see it. That gets lost on the big stage. The stage is bigger. Mm-hmm. You have more ground to cover. So it's more tasking on you. When you see the size of the stages versus the little cultural center stage, it's day and night.
Yeah, and I saw that too with, I smile, another promoter was stuck in it. I'd done my legacy show and had Baron in the cultural center, and he destroyed and flattened the cultural center because as a mature senior, not so strong again, the vocals in the confined wall of the cultural center, the sing-along of the crowd, it really rocked. Once he moved about a couple of years later, a certain promoter brought him to that Pigeon Island. He struggled.
Yeah.
He sank. He didn't. The sweet Baron struggled there because the strength, the power, the exertion you need to really impact that crowd is different. And
absolutely.
So a Baron, that's not the best habitat for him. I'm telling you, an environment over in it. So it's a big difference. The groovy, you really have to watch that. Like a number of sweet songs. And Soca Monarch Night, they really have to do something to bring it alive,
Yes.
And so that is part of the intricacies of that groovy Soca Monarch that you have to consider different points. Talking of groovy, we're going back to Easy Hall in a while. Of course, Manchester will be on the cast for Fire One on Saturday. We will run a few of them. We have new release from Carlton Roberts. He's been prolific, he's been consistent, really one of the better writers, calypso, soca. He's really a good writer and performer. Carlton Roberts, C-Deal as a big one that's leading, and you have the likes of Saya, and there's a new one from Miguel, from Miggs. So let's start with we're going Iowa with, we're going with first? You're going Carlton first? Or Carlton or C-Deal?
Carlton Roberts, let's go Carlton Roberts with one called We Not Leaving on Vaval Central.
Just a sample of the groovy out for the season, and then we're going back to Kaiso.
See her again. We not leaving, no. Party nice, no drinks all night. Hey, we not leaving, no way. No woman on display. We ain't going no way. I see the girl them rocking back and they winding up. I'm feeling a type of way I can get you up. This better me feeling like look the vibe turn up.
Good morning, Vaval Central.
Wow. Oh yeah, waiting. My heart pulsating. I'm longing for a fete. With plenty liquor and woman all over. Whining and soaking wet. Well, the wait is over. Tonight we on fire. Can't wait to bust a sweat. So around up the party, we ready to party. It's been a while since we passed a fete, and we not leaving, no. Party night, no drinks all night. Hey, we not leaving, no way. No woman on display. We ain't going no way. See the girl them rocking back and they winding up. I'm feeling a type of way.
Morning, Vaval Central.
This one got me feeling nice, look the vibe turn up. If I'm in a fantasy, please do it me up. My woman complaining, and I can't take the fussing, cause my mind just said to fete. Now she trying to block me. Look, she done just already, but I'm not going to fret. I already have a master plan to lose her somewhere in the jam. Tonight she'll get upset. You don't bring sand to the beach. Time to practice the things I preach. Tonight, baby, I'm out of reach, and we are leaving. No. Party nice, no drinks all night. Hey, we not leaving. No way. No.
Carlton Roberts on Vaval Central. We Not Leaving, Teddy.
Yes, and the Carlton consistent as a writer, always good material through the years. We're hearing a couple big names are back in the Soca Monarch. C-Dale, we're told, is back entering the Soca Monarch. There's the whisper is getting louder that your good friend Teddy St. John just might be back in the fray. I mean, and likely, interestingly, might not be groovy, might be a power song. We're hearing that more. So interesting to follow on Vaval Central. That C-Dale is definitely back. Teddy St. John, we are told, is very likely back in competition this year. A lot more on that as we approach it. Certainly would do well. The youngsters are ready. It wouldn't be any walk in the park for them. The youngsters not easy at all now. The thing has evolved. But the great Teddy St. John, we're hearing will be back in it this year. We'll have him on Vaval Central to confirm. You know why? We'll have him here to confirm it. We're going with C-Dale now, who has re-entered.
Never Me Again on Vaval Central. My partner, Council say Carlton does it again.
Yes, Council morning.
Yeah, man, morning.
Make a big man cry. Make a big man cry.
Morning, Vaval Central.
I buy the girl clothes. I buy the girl diamond ring. I buy the girl phone. I buy the girl house and thing. But she not satisfied. She out with another guy. Oh, I ain't go lie. The girl make a big man cry. Never me again. Never me again. Never me again. Never me again. Too much pain. Never me again. Never me again. Never me again. Rosie Lay with the next man. Maffy with the next man. In town with the next man. By the road with the next man. Down south with the next man. Falco with the next man. Carnival with the next man. Oh Lord,
We were so close. I was people on your nose. I even proposed. next man. In town with the next man. By the road with the next man. Down south with the next man. Falco with the next man. Carnival with the next man. Oh Lord, don't hear why I should. I never checking on no kid like that. Sometimes you do forget, you never know. But man, hear what I'm telling you. I will never do it again. Well, if you say you never do it again, never do it again. Never be again.
Good morning, Vaval Central.
On Vaval Central, happy, Terry.
Yeah, lots of other music. We've run a lot during the week. We're going to Saya a little later in the program. Saya, Mr. Always very determined. Always there's his offering. He's made the finals a few times. We're going to run Saya, and a big up Saya for his efforts. Along with we have a new release, Miguel Miggs of Hype Productions, with a rhythm including a collaboration between Nerdy and Skinny Fabulous. Should be interesting a little later down. After the break too, we're running a few of the calypsos released already. We have Ready, we have TC Brown, we have Educator, and a few others from the Takeover tent as we get ready for the bumper weekend tonight. South Calypso tent, we're there early, liming. We go in there early, Manchester? Early, and then your tent has a pre-lime from 7 o'clock. The Saturday night, the liming outside. You on this weekend? Is that you on it?
Well, let me say good morning to my good friend Donaville. So good to have him back emceeing. Donaville is on tonight and tomorrow night. I will be missing the tent tomorrow night because I have a veterans football game in Dennery. The Masters tournament is being the warm-up phases. Well, I'll be at the tent tonight for sure. I can't miss the return of my good brother Donaville. Let me just one more time extend condolences to him. He lost his dad not too long ago, and I was kind of worried as to whether or not he'd be back. But great news to have him back. He's doing tonight and tomorrow night. Looking forward to that. And the South Calypso tent. I really want to just take time off to salute.
Tony. Inside the time is 9 o'clock. Time check brought to you by Ferrens Foods.
Yeah, I really want to salute Tony Wilkinson. People don't know how hard it is to put a Calypso tent together. But even more challenging when you have a tent based in Beaufort, but performing in Castries. So I really have to commend him for that. And I also have to shout out Dr. Kennedy Anthony, who's been a pillar of the South Calypso tent. You know, the amount of support he's given to the South Calypso tent, a lot of people don't know it. And, you know, I just really want to, as he retires, tell him thank you so much for his contribution to not just the South Calypso tent, but to the arts in general. Very, very supportive of the arts. And I'm also looking forward to the new management and their approach to Fire One Tent. Big up Pipe on the crew. I remember Cheryl telling me, because people do not know how much stress you are under. Calypsonians telling you that they're ready, and then you find out that the song half written, they have the music scored yet. Let me tell you, problems. Yeah.
Somebody saying, tell Isaiah what he just said, let's say it in extempo. that makes sense, Iowa? Yeah. That makes sense? Yeah. To salute the season and
all right.
big up.
So this morning I'm telling you with good intent, I want to salute every Calypso tent, and I guess by now everybody know tomorrow the South tent have their show, and I'm telling you another thing before I done. On Saturday night we have Fire One, so I'm telling you, you're going to see all the stars. Support the Kaiso tent just like you supported jazz.
Isaiah Hall, boy. The one and only.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But, you know, I really want the support for the Calypso tents. People come out and hear what people have to offer. The opening of a Calypso tent is not a Calypso final. You know, every single performer will not be the same. But the most entertaining part of Carnival for me is the Kaiso tents. And if you've never had the experience, please come out.
Thank you very much, Isaiah Hall.
Something special, something tasty, something smooth. When I think about all the flavors I can savor,
I gotta have
Farron's ice cream.
I wanna have, I need to have a flavor that makes me glad. But the way I feel, it must be Farron's ice cream. Chocolate coated ice cream bars, creamsicles I gotta have. Give me some fat-free yogurt I need.
Farron's ice cream.
Farron's ice cream.
It's so delicious. Farron's ice cream.
Farron's
tastes so good. Farron's ice cream. Oh, I gotta have it. 'Cause only the best will do.
Farron's ice cream, bringing back delicious memories.
You're listening to Vaval Central on Radio Caribbean International. Vaval Central is sponsored by the Carnival Planning Management Committee, the Carnival Music Management Committee, Creamery Novelties, Harris Paints, the Computer Store, and the Quartz, bringing value home.
Get ready, St. Lucia. Lucian Carnival 2025 is on, and this year it's bigger, brighter, and bolder than ever. From Calypso to Soca, Junior Carnival to Juve, and Panorama to Pageantry, every event is bursting with non-stop energy, ecstasy, and vibes. Come catch the rhythm on Carnival Monday and Tuesday with views that only Lucian Carnival can deliver. It's the ultimate summer escape. Feel the vibes, embody the spirit. Lucian Carnival, nothing sweeter than that.
South Calypso Tent, in collaboration with the Carnival Music Management Committee and the CPMC, present the Advocates of the Art Form. Long live Kaiso! The grand launching Friday, May 23rd at the National Cultural Center. Showtime, 8:30 p.m. Featuring four-time Calypso Monarch, Minal, Dyke Fontalio, Oshun, King Kakal, Queen Yards, Teddy Boy, Mighty K, Mahandra, Damian, Diplomat, Boss Al, Newcomers, Lucian, Arta, and more. Surprise guest artists with MC Dornaville, the backup band, South All Stars. Admission $25 you pay at the door. This event is sponsored by Lucilette, Southern Taxi Association, Bounty Rum, Beer Marcel, Peter Beer, Climax, and IC. Caribbean Grains Flour Mill, Peter and Company Auto, Jason and Alton Mondesi, Forest Springs, Michelle's Electrical, South Calypso Tent, Grand Launch, Friday, May 23rd, 8:30 p.m. at the NCC. This event is licensed by ECHO. No unauthorized vendors allowed.
This cannot be happening right now. My interview's in 20 minutes.
Julia had one job: get there.
but it looks like her battery life was low. And now, instead of sealing the deal at her future dream job, she's going to be stuck working in a 2x4 sized cubicle next to Tanya, who talks too much, and Stinky Fit Steve indefinitely. Don't be like Julia. Make sure you get where you need to with the all-new Maximo battery. Available island-wide at all automotive art stores and leading gas stations and part shops. The all-new Maximo battery now comes with an up to 2-year full replacement warranty for installation and free maintenance check at Automotive Art. The all-new Maximo battery. Get there.
Introducing Digicel's all-new prepaid Prime Ultra bundles that give you more value for your money. Packed with more and-use data than ever before, which rolls over once you auto-renew. Enjoy endless social data to text on Snapchat, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Entertainment data for the apps you love. Netflix, Spotify, YouTube, and TikTok. Plus, endless Digicel to Digicel calls on all bundles. Minutes for other local calls and regional and international minutes on the 5-day Prime Ultra bundle or higher. You never miss a beat. Activate a Digicel Prime Ultra bundle today in the My Digicel app for as low as $6.99. Digicel, better connected to the best LTE network.
Are you a small business owner looking for dependable IT support? Then look no further. TCS has the solutions to all your IT needs. Our experienced and qualified team of IT professionals has all your IT solutions. We provide wired and wireless networking, point of sale solutions, network security, data backup and recovery solutions, desktops and laptops, computer hardware and software, computer accessories, inks, toners, and much more. Don't let IT solutions cripple your operations or your ability to serve your clients. Call us today at 450-4638 or visit us on the ground floor of the American Drywall Building at Vidbutai. The Computer Store, meeting your demands in the IT world.
With Smart Submit, say goodbye to the hassle and hello to convenience. Don't waste time and risk errors submitting C3 forms to the NIC. Go online. Submit your NIC C3 forms from anywhere at any time. It's simple, convenient, and secure. Smart Submit is the smart choice. Still doing it the old way? Maybe it's time to wake up. Make the smart choice with Smart Submit, the smarter way to submit your C3 form. Visit us online at www.stlucianic.org for more information. NIC, for the benefit of us all.
50 years and still standing strong, supporting St. Lucia for so long. From pre-independence till today, the brewery is here to stay. From Crozet Lane up to Vieux Town, we've been holding it down. Through the highs and the lows, we always there. It's a celebration, oh yeah. Who bring the vibes? The brewery, drinks so nice. The brewery, a legacy brew, the future inspired. Cheers to the brewery. Who bring the vibes? The brewery, drinks so nice. The brewery, a legacy brew, the future inspired. Cheers to the brewery. Oh, oh. Cheers to 50 years of the brewery. Oh, oh. Heineken St. Lucia Limited.
The wait is over. We are about to turn it on. Soca, the ultimate tent, in collaboration with the CMMC present Big Bad Soca on Saturday, May 21st at the Pavilion in Rodney Bay. Performing live. Rounds, Marta, Sly, Anthony Fat Machine, Sadale, Keisha and more. Starting time 8 p.m. Admission $25 at the door. The first 100 people pay $20. Soca, the ultimate tent presents Big Bad Soca.
Boy, when you get the car,
Saturday, May 31st, 8 p.m. at the Pavilion on Rodney Bay. This event is sponsored by Lucelec, Campari, Doers, DJ, Peter Bear, Island Sound, Pleasant FM, NBC, Hot FM, The Wave, and Radio Caribbean International. The event is licensed by Echo.
And we're back, Vaval Central on the Caribbean Sound. Teddy?
We're back on Vaval Central and Eastside Hall at the break. As we remind persons, a number of activities. We must pick up Denry Carnival launch on Sunday afternoon with the likes of DYP Band, all the carnival bands in Denry displaying the costumes, also Arthur and Ezra among a host of other artists, Denry segment, trending artists and the rest. Also today, the school tour continues over at the used to be Vidbutai Secondary Patricia James Secondary, and also Corinth Secondary School, a very vibrant school. Big up to PG Paras, a music teacher there. Very vibrant with the culture and a good record at school. So they will be one of the two school teachers today, and it continues for the next 12 school days around the island. The school tour really well received yesterday at Moshi Primary and Rosalie Primary. Of course, the two things coming up, and we told you of the two upcoming afterwork line. We have Barry George tour at a line at Balance Hill outside his band room in the old Monroe building. There is a big weekday line every Friday. Maury's will be the place to be up north. With the afterwork line party, they're calling it, and Stephen Orbiton organizing the revival of Party in the Yard, the CSC doing it in the CSC Yard right outside RCI. We're talking about innovating and keeping things going. Somebody is saying they want to come in and try to make the committee for an increase in price and subvention. The subvention for the kiddies band has moved from $2,500 to $5,000. For each band getting $5,000 as subvention for the kiddies band. That's so important to build the mass and build the creativity. So they come in the committee and the government for increasing the subvention, for doubling the subvention to each kiddies band. We mentioned and of course we mentioned earlier, the Mindufilla Park is the venue now for the school's competitions, that is Calypso, Pan and Soca will be at the Mindufilla Park. The original home where Tricky and Soca set the country ablaze with their talent. And we mentioned Isaiah about innovating to keep relevant, to keep sharp. The Calypso, what can Calypso do as we move towards to keep sharp and to improve? You mentioning one topic raised for the Caribbean is the band chorus. Traditionally, Calypso has this structure of repeating the music in the chorus before coming back to the next verse. Some say that adds to weighing it down and makes it, in an age where people want things zippy and instant. Composer here, Isaiah Hall of Calypso, you as a musician, your thoughts on that? The band chorus, one assumes that one of the main purposes from the old days was for retention, for the artist to prepare for the next verse. That's one reason. Your thoughts on the reason for it, reason for keeping it? Maybe Bachelor was snapped 2 beats and back to after the chorus and back to his verse. For example, he didn't do the long repeating of the chorus. Your thoughts on Manchester and Isai?
Yeah, I can say, as a young man back then with one of my songs, I felt that the band choruses were long. As a young man, just that is why with my song I Do Nothing, I I kept it short because of that thought back then. But I think the band chorus is the good thing about it. It allows the Calypsonians to add the drummer thing. During the band chorus, they could, like, especially in the final, the skit they could, and that is a big part of Calypso.
Right.
So
and one we had here was saying the retention. Some people, they use it to prepare and psych themselves for the upcoming verse. You may see them doing the antics on stage and ad-libbing, but they're really going through the drills to psych themselves. Isai is a performer. He's also a prolific composer. Your thoughts, Isai?
Yeah. It actually does a number of things. One critical thing that it does is usually the end of your chorus, you deliver a punchline, and you have your audience reacting. You don't want to be starting a new verse while your audience is reacting to your punchline. Also, it gives you as the performer a sort of a break from singing to catch your breath, etc. The key thing is, one, the length of the band chorus is critical. Like Mancha says, some band choruses are just too long.
Right.
And people get tired of waiting for you to start the next verse, especially when you have delivered a serious punchline and they eagerly are waiting to hear what you're going to say next. The other thing too is, as a performer, you need to plan what's going to happen during the band chorus.
That is where
it's part of the performance.
Right.
And so if I'm judging you on the band chorus, you're just standing there looking at people, that suggests you have not prepared for a complete performance. Because music is being played, you are still performing. So you need to plan for what happens. As you said, it can be props, it can be some, but you need to plan for that part of the song as well. So I wouldn't think of taking it out. But as I said, people need to be guided in terms of how long it is, and how there's a part in the criteria that speaks about the sweetness of the music and so on. It's really an area too where you can really show off the quality of music in your song and stuff like that. So I think it's very, very important, but it has to be managed and planned for. you know.
And there are examples of songs, like you mentioned, Bachelor.
Mm-hmm.
A song way back in the day, The Little Black Boy, Gypsy.
Little
that
Black
has
Boy.
no band chorus.
No band chorus. Just go straight back
Little
after
Black
the
Boy.
chorus, back to the
Yeah,
verse.
straight to it. So, you know,
Yeah.
it's up to the creator.
Well, and certainly when we're for airplay, maybe an advice to those doing the studio recordings. Well, there's not much use for the band chorus there. So that's an example. You send in Iowa recording from the studio, maybe a place to eliminate it. You know?
Yeah, eliminate, especially with the keyboard brass. It doesn't do justice like the live ones.
Yeah.
And to have that thing playing for so long,
Yeah,
you know,
the live ones at least are live, and so, but if you're using
that's just my view.
Keyboards
Yeah.
to get that done. The challenge in writing throughout the Caribbean, the basic tenets and techniques are there in writing of the tension and release. And we have made the point repeatedly on this program almost every year that Calypso ought to have, it must not resemble or approach a lecture. So Calypso in its essence, you really want the public to be joining you, either sing along, adding a piece and so on. No, but also the certain interactive aspect of it at some point.
A call response kind of vibe.
The call and response is important, the tension and release in the composition. We heard in one of the commentaries last year, a person out of Trinidad claiming that a number of the songs were not well developed. So if you have a Calypso, it's a raconteur, storytelling, it's a story. So if some Calypsos make the point after the first two lines, and nothing is added in the next few verses. You know, the story is well told, whereas some people know how to tease you and drag it along and add a new verse. And so the examples we said, for example, last year's about fish. This year there's a song by Reddy about Julian. So when you made the point in the first verse, some writers, good writers, choose to broaden it. Use Julian as a metaphor for other things, running and so on. Fish as maybe a conduit for singing about the neglect of arts and artists generally. So to avoid the risk, the temptation of just repeating the same point, how do you add, your composer is like, add something each verse, develop the story almost to a climax, a beginning and an end as it were?
Well, you know, in preparation to write, when you get the idea for this song, remember it's a story. A story has an introduction, it has a main body, but it also has a conclusion. There are lots of calypsos over the years that have no conclusion. You know, you start speaking about a topic and you just go on and on about the topic, but you know, how do you conclude? What's the end? Because you are telling a story is supposed to have an ending. And I think we need some writing workshops. In fact, a number of writing workshops are going on at present. I'm happy to see all the work that's been done, especially at the junior level. Big up to Bachelor. I think he's definitely on the right path. I also saw that he had a performance workshop. A lot of our Calypsonians, that's where they fall short on stage. But with regards to the composition, you need to plan, you know, your composition. How am I going to introduce this topic? What are the key things that I want to say about the topic that I can put in the verses? And most importantly, how do I get to that climax? How do I get to the end of the story? What happens at the end? Am I making a recommendation with regards to an issue? You know, am I saying that if it was a case where somebody has done something wrong, am I passing judgment? Do I think the person was right or do I think the person was wrong? But there must be a concluding thought when you putting a composition together, and that's it. You know.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, I guess because of my extempo vibe, when I think about the topic quite a lot, and I actually compose all the verses in my head, and then I just sit down and write it out.
Yeah.
You know, there are people who write calypsos in 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, but the thing is, the thought, all the thinking, the thought processes have taken place, and they know exactly what they're doing. That's why they teach you to plan an essay in school. You know, developing an essay plan. It's the same thing. You're telling a story.
Yeah. Well, and also the point you're speaking about your attitude to production, to composition, but the point has been made often that there's no guarantee. So very often, you could put in all your hard work, all season, off season, a whole year in the studio, and you don't get a hit. There's no guarantee that you'll connect. Whereas somebody else, just in a jam session, after recording, somebody hits a line and they say, wait, that's it, let's go with that.
And that's it. It just comes.
Yeah.
You know,
and Sugar Boom Boom by Kitchener, the guy said they'd finished and they just needed, they had done 8 songs on the album, they needed one more. and just somebody, just the bassman playing around, and you said, just put that as a filler, to finish the album, and that became a mega hit.
Oh yeah, we see that in Calypso, we see that even in dancehall music. That song, when I cry, I cry. This guy said he just put that there, like it was a true story. It was just a filler song, and that became the hit song. And also like one I'm thinking, you need to release a lot of songs, more songs, because you never know what people like. Let me tell you something, boy, it's crazy in music,
Nerdy and the artist Ezra, and a number of the artists doing that now. Releasing a number of songs throughout the season. It also makes sure when you release many, you can then be hired to do a set.
Yeah. Now it's two things, sometimes.
You have a repertoire then,
Like and also it's not so clear, because sometimes you could release too many songs and your songs competing with each other, so it's not
that is the risk. That is the risk.
But then you never know. The point is you never know what people will like. And Skinny Fabulous is one who always says that. The people will decide, bro. Because everybody releases a song. The fact that you release the song is because you think it's a big song. You think you release it. So that's why artists get, we disappointed. The song is not being played. Because you've heard it. And you heard it so much in the studio. It's a hit in the studio because you heard it so much.
And also, there's the aspect of the airplay, simple airplay. So, there's only so much space. If you release 9 songs, some soca tunes need a kind of certain volume of airplay to really connect. But if you have 9, I want on beats trying to give a fair airplay to an artist. They play. Each one gets 1/9 of the airplay. In the nerdy slot, each one gets 1/9. You know what I'm saying? So in the end, it doesn't get the volume of airplay it needs to really connect. So you do have the risk of competing against each other. You have to be careful in a season. As the Trinities always say, they become millionaires on one tune, one big hit per year. That's it. Get one hit and let's go. They get hundreds of thousands in the US and then leave the other hit for the next year.
But I really want to commend the soca artists in particular who release early, and they release a number of songs.
What's early? What's early?
From as early as October, November, there are songs that came out from. I started enjoying Catching Flights, Not Feelings very early, and big up to Asa. I think they have put the other soca artists under pressure. That's why already we have over 100 songs, because people saw all these releases coming out, Ezra the Fun Machine and them. I really want to big up the soca artists and remind the Calypsonians, we need to go that route. Calypso is definitely too seasonal. Tell me one Calypso that you can play at a funeral. Tell me one Calypso that you can play on Father's Day. Tell me 2 Calypsos that you can play. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm telling you. There are lots of things that you can write about. You don't definitely have to wait until competition.
There's been, I think now we're going to run it out before we end ready, the Juju, but Sion and Desrel predicted the victory, prediction. But a truly celebratory song since that victory by Julian. One that, it comes to the anthem, the rallying call about capturing our absolute euphoria and joy. There's no song, not soca, nothing, a Julian song that, that's a big voice. Yes, but how could you not have a song celebrating and registering our joy? There's none up to now. And so there are lots of voice to be filled. As you say, a good gospel so one powerful gospel song, Father's Day, Mother's Day. There are lots of niches there for composing this song. We have done it well. The likes of Invader in a big way. I think Invader is underappreciated for the songs at Juni Creole. Let me tell you, Invader, the repertoire, the Creole and Christmas. That's 2 that we did well in the off season. Juni Creole, if you look at the number of songs created, led by Invader around the Creole theme, and then the Christmas one to Invader and company, Paley. We have done not badly in these 2 seasons, but there are lots of others, You've seen
but I just want to weigh in on Wednesday night. I played a song by Amati. Praises and worship. Who say you can't pray? Remember, there was this argument as to whether or not Calypso music should be played in church, etc. And Amati put forth, wonderful song. People were looking at that video and the song and said, who wrote that? When did that song is, how old that song is? Yeah. But it just shows you that you can actually create music for any occasion. And that's the void that we have in Calypso, whereby we have restricted our Calypso to all about the competition for Carnival, and that's it. We need to encourage more Calypso outside the competitive time. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and perhaps it's a good time for the Calypsonians to moving forward to record the music, because the music is not a lot of the music is not available, like let's say on iTunes and Spotify and Instagram. People nowadays that's the way it is.
That's
people music is like a soundtrack.
Yeah, I told one artist was complaining in a forum about the radio. I think in 2025 the radio, there's so many other platforms to get music out. The clips on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok. An artist gets an encore in the tens, a little 40 seconds of that alone.
Yeah.
You're not using
so,
this new platform.
So you're not pushing your thing, and you vex fellas and pushing your thing.
But no, that's an old paradigm, man. In 1962, your radio had St. Lucia to play a song. There are so many platforms now to get your song out. And I said, the media is different now, the new media. A clip of the anchor going down of a popular song. That's all you need on a girl using a TikTok video of a popular song. It just goes crazy. Like millions of views.
And it's crazy now, because that's why nowadays a lot of people go to like concerts, let's say in the US, and they only know a small part of the song. So they're singing for that part, and then the rest of it like...
Because that's all TikTok could guide them on, you know?
The TikTokification of society.
Yes.
But the distribution aspect that Penn spoke about is also very, very critical. Getting your song to known distributors to get it out there, that's a very key element. And that's for a whole lot of discussion.
A quick thought
very, very
on that. King was very severe on the artists for not using the platform, the avenues for distribution and marketing the music. Your own thoughts on that? You very much steeped in the business of the music.
Absolutely, your music must be on the platforms. You must submit it. Like let's say like CD Baby, and there are so many of them that will distribute the music. Like the songs I'm releasing, they're available everywhere, on paid platforms and on free platforms. So that is why if you go on Instagram and you type any one of these songs, it will come up. You could put it, as a soundtrack. You put up your picture, you dancing, and that we have to do that.
You're not doing
and you could put live music too, not just
Calypso needs a lot, soca needs a lot. We need to use this platform. Not depend on Iowa to play that song. That's the only way to get it.
And don't think like, that is for the younger people. That is not true. It's older people who create these things,
Right, yeah. No, the ways of reaching the mature people, the sponsored ad is very affordable, And
very
affordable.
affordable.
And it gets to your demographic for you.
Like on about 10 US to put up a song, like for example on CD, like 10 US, like really, just to put up your song. It's available everywhere.
Yeah.
Your song kind of.
They're wrong for that.
They're wrong for that.
What are you ending with? This morning, Calypsonians from long ago had to learn to extempo in case they forgot a line or so. They had to learn. Listen, man. They had to learn to marry meaningful lyrics with melody.
10 seconds, Teddy. Two things that I promise.
And if the music made no sense, they were booed by the audience for insulting their intelligence. I say.
Two important things. We're talking St. Lucia Carnival. Well, actually. Three things in 10 seconds. First of all, I want to remind people that this is St. Lucia Carnival. And don't expect us to be like Trinidad or like Barbados. We have our own brand, and every year we keep trying to improve our brand. So allow us the latitude to do that. I understand there will be issues that have to be dealt with year after year. One in particular, for example, Teddy, that's causing a major problem is the relocation of bus terminals. Last year we had a serious problem in terms of the Groseley buses, and don't forget there are people who have to be transported to and from work, etc. I think it was relocated to the gardens, but people were not sure where exactly it was, and then when they came to the gardens, the buses weren't there. So I think that aspect of the transportation plan, we need to plan early and let people know early as to where these areas are located and have the bus drivers to buy in. The whole issue about the change of route and pricing and so on, that's an important discussion as well, but I'm saying the transportation interruption for Carnival, we need to do as much as possible to ensure that commuters have access to transportation. Very, very important. But I also want to say that St. Lucia has one of the safest carnivals. in the region. And hats off to the Royal St. Lucia Police Force and everybody else involved in terms of security. One thing that I noticed last year at 6:30, 7 o'clock, all establishments were asked to shut down their music. Now, 6:37 on Carnival Tuesday, you have thousands of people downtown. I mean,
60,000 people in the city,
that's like business, big business. There are people who are just hanging around town looking to cool out and so on. If that's going to happen, let people know in advance, because there may be people who have made preparations, especially with perishables, food items that they prepare, saying that, okay, after all the jump up and so on, we know we will have people inside there to buy the food, and then from the time the music shuts down, 3/4 of your people leaving your establishment. So if that's going to happen, let people know in advance in terms of the planning and so on. But these are just little things, that can really and truly ensure that we have a better carnival product. But I think we're heading in the right direction. I am loving St. Lucia Carnival, and I am considering jumping for the very first time, since I'll be doing less MC duties and stuff like that. I really need to take
enjoy
our time
vibe.
and enjoy St. Lucia
Enjoy
Carnival.
yourself
Get
in the
the
mass.
total experience.
Were you jumping again this year?
Yeah, again.
Which band you going?
Tribe of 12.
Tribe 12, boy, 12. What we give them to go? One guy is one, and then we playing the two defending monarchs in the soca. We have Sly and Rikiti, right? So choose a Kaiso. What you get them ready? Who performing this weekend?
Ready. Run, Juju, run. We play that one, and then
the two soca monarchs
we
defending.
play Slides.
And
No attachment.
And then Rikiti.
Rikiti live if you say.
Yeah, right.
Okay, all right. Ready on Vaval Central.
Next week is TC Brown and them time. TC Brown next week before his 10.